Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Real Chill Conversations. And finally on the screen after so long.
We took a
we
little hiatus, had to get some things in order, had to be ready for the camera. Didn't want y'all looking at us crazy, but we still wanted to bring you the topic. So we are back with an all new episode, courtesy of Dominique. We've got a lot we're going to cover tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. And we have missed you guys.
we do. We Hey King. King is in
Hey.
the chat. Okay, everybody. So there is a lot of things that have been going on, and we're gonna talk about it a little bit today. I'm not gonna take too much of y'all's time on a Friday. Cause I know y'all probably want to go out. Some people got cute, probably doing their makeup, getting haircuts.
And all of
Um,
that Friday stuff.
right. But first wanted to start with the hurricane, and I did want to start with Hurricane Helene
Yeah.
because that was just a disaster. Um, I know when we heard that it was coming to Georgia and it was coming towards us, I was like, "Oh my God, a hurricane,"
Right.
But I do know Georgia, it's been known not to be able to sustain, very huge hurricanes. So I knew like once they got to Georgia, it was probably gonna lose some power.
Definitely.
Um, but I do want to talk about Helene today because it's a busy year. We have been seeing a lot of hurricanes coming through. And it seems like it's been hurricane after hurricane. So I know there were rumors about FEMA being broke on social media
Yep.
and giving people $750
Right.
for a disaster.
Right.
Now they did come out and clear up the rumors, and they were saying how they that was the start of it with $750 and that you had to apply if you needed more funding. Um, and someone made a comment of that most of the funds were going towards undocumented people. Um, this year it is an election year, as we
Absolutely.
all know.
Yep.
Um, and all of these awful things, nasty storms are being politicized by politicians just to win an election. I know I saw Kamala come out and say something about it. What about going out and helping these people? What about that?
That's what I think, really needs to take place and really needs to happen. When the news of Helene started making waves and it was making its rounds that it was going to actually impact Georgia, when we were impacted and we did receive the information, depending on what county you were in, depending on what school district you're in, the school district that my kids go to, they decided to shut down schools that Thursday and Friday. Then I turned on the news and I saw that there was over 45,000 people in DeKalb County and surrounding counties that were without power. No power, no water, no gas. So, this is not the first time that a hurricane has happened. It's not the first time that a disaster has happened. I feel like we just do not have enough funding in place for these emergencies. And I
I
think
feel like the funding is going to other places instead of places where it's supposed to go. North Carolina right now is a mess.
it's an
I
absolute
was looking on
disaster.
TikTok and there was this lady just saying that it practically like there's an area in North Carolina that it just smelled like dead bodies.
Yes. Yeah, there were I want to say there were 14 deaths, and also the area in North Carolina where the storm hit. It's very odd because the storm was not along the coast. It was
Mhm.
in an area that's kind of like in the mountains. And we had someone that we spoke to that lives in the area, and
And
they
you
said,
never know. There you go. You never know what may happen because the mountains, a hurricane,
right, right,
it kind of like don't go together. So this
right.
was definitely a tragedy because did you were you able to see the landslides and everything that they had?
Yes. Yes. I had a friend that had a trip planned to North Carolina to go to that specific area because there's a lot of restaurants and shopping and dining and, little things to do. And it is in the mountain area of North Carolina. So it's not along the coastline. And
Right.
she said she kept watching the news and watching the flights. And she said she kept looking on TikTok and seeing all of the pictures. So finally, she canceled her trip and decided not to go. And then a coworker of my husband, he lives in the area, and he said it's absolutely destroyed. He said it's going to take years before that area of North Carolina gets put back together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not only that, Brenna, but they did mention that it was like 225 people dead. But I
Hmm.
feel like those people were the ones accounted for.
Yes.
And I'm gonna say allegedly because I do feel like it's more. And that's only because now we have the internet and people are coming out and actually speaking about it.
Right.
If we didn't have any phones or internet, we wouldn't be able to see the real deal.
Right.
Um, but I really feel like these are people that are accounted for. Now in Florida, there was another hurricane, which was Hurricane Milton, that just passed. And they were telling the people, hey, if you don't evacuate and you decide to stay, write your name, your just your information with a permanent marker on your body. That's very scary.
That's extremely scary. I know we checked on our people that reside in Florida, and they've been giving us updates and telling us what's going on. Several of them have decided to shelter in place and not evacuate, but it's still devastation. I mean, this is two storms within 2 weeks, and they keep predicting there's going to be more activity because of what's going on in the Gulf, and all of that has to do with what's going on in the world and the climate change. I mean, this is the one of the few times in history where we've had back to back to back to back situations with hurricanes and then predicting storms, and we're still never ready. We're still never ready.
Right. And give the money to help these people. Send help. I feel like it's easy to tell people, oh, evacuate, you know? And
Right.
I feel you because if you tell me to evacuate, I'm evacuating.
Yeah.
But some people don't have the means nor the money to do it.
Right.
So how about, send help?
Yeah.
Get those people out of there just the same way in helicopters. I don't know what,
I mean,
I
they
see
send.
so many things when it comes to rescue, when it comes to like military and
Right. They send the
trying to do
National
all these
Guard.
things.
Yeah, the
Exactly.
National Guard and all of that is sent out to assist and to help rescue people. I've read countless stories of people that were stranded for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days in their vehicles, on the roof of their vehicles, just waiting for people to come by. People hanging on to, the top of their cars and sitting on their roofs. I mean, that's just not a
I
way.
know they had to rescue, now that you're talking about sitting on top of the roof, they had to rescue this lady
Yep,
in Atlanta because she was stuck in the water and the reporter was actually reporting on the weather at the time and she was just screaming, and he
yep.
finally said, hey, let's stop this, I'm going to go try to rescue this lady.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. And that's a shame. I mean, we should be ready for this by now. And I would think that, the measures would be put in place. As you mentioned earlier, we're in an election year. So I would think that all of the candidates that are polling for us to vote for them to show us that they're going to take us to a better place would put emergency protocols in place so that there's not so much damage and there's not so much devastation. If we know about these storms, if we know about these certain areas that are getting hit, and even the areas that we don't expect to get hit, like the area in North Carolina in the mountains, again, it's not on the coast. And these hurricanes, typically when they make landfall on the coastline. And Georgia's on
Right.
the coast, Florida's on the coast, North Carolina, there's an area of North Carolina that's on the coast, Virginia's on the coast. There's lots of states in the East Coast that are on the coastline that get impacted. And if they're not directly hit by the storm, they get the after effects with thunderstorms and lightning and rain and things like that, which all can lead to flash flooding, which creates more of a disaster. The pictures of people's houses and people, throwing buckets and buckets of water out of their home. I mean, their homes are destroyed, their homes are ruined. You have to cut out all that area that got wet, and it has to be treated and rebuilt in order to prevent mold from growing and for your whole family to get sick of black mold due to the wetness.
And I do want to say this, in these times, this is a perfect time, you guys, to help a neighbor.
Yeah,
Especially when someone is in a bad position. A lot of people are still trapped in these areas. Um, I might have to agree with Trump for one of the first times of him saying that, there are hundreds of billions of dollars that are sent to foreign nations, and they are giving people just $750
that's not enough. I mean, that's not enough to sustain a family, for them to
for
shelter.
relief funds just to get you
Yeah,
started. I mean, I'm sorry, but I just don't feel like that's enough.
it's
And
not.
some people may be like, something is something, but at the end of the day, this is a national emergency. This is human beings that you're speaking about.
Right,
This is, people, humans, okay?
right.
Um, the distress, you can't imagine what these people are going through right now.
Absolutely. And I would think too that, we have FEMA, we have the Red Cross, we have other agencies that are, put in place to enact emergency aid, but it doesn't
Right.
seem like it's reaching anybody because people are still saying, "Hey, I need help. We need help." And, it's a disaster. I would hate to see what would happen should we have another storm come our way, but it's not too far off the radar that another one is to be expected here sometime soon.
Exactly. These help. I am praying that more help come to these areas. Again, these are human beings we're talking about. You know, I believe the funds should be more. Of course, this is a disaster. You have people that don't have anywhere to go,
Right,
and everything is so high right now, and these people have to start all over again.
right.
So, I mean, do the right thing. I mean, that's just my opinion on it. And whether you like it or not, I don't care. But anyways, let's move on to our next topic.
Yes,
Um, I wanted to bring this up because I did ask about this in the group, of course, of Real Chill Conversations on Facebook. If
yes,
you haven't joined our group, make sure you do. Um, so I asked, right?
yeah.
Because I was curious.
Curious.
Um, Having sex while pregnant with someone who is not the baby daddy. What is the issue with this?
You know, when I saw that post, and then I saw, some of the comments and the dialogue back and forth, I mean, it was rather interesting to me, some of the responses that came through. So, in a situation where a woman is pregnant, I'm assuming if she's having
Excuse
sex
me.
with if she's having sex with somebody else, that means that she's no longer with her partner or the father of her child. Now, just because someone is the father of your child, that doesn't make him the father of your vagina. He doesn't own your body. He doesn't own you. And yes, while that may be his fetus, his baby that's inside there, the baby is very well protected. So nothing that you have going on in the bedroom is going to impact that baby. So if you choose to go out and you want to, get it on with somebody else, that's your prerogative. That's your right. I feel it, really disrespectful for men to think that they can lay claim to a woman and hold her entire body hostage while she's pregnant, and that's not even somebody that you're trying to be with. If you have no plans to be with that woman, you're not together, you're not intimate, you don't live together, you have no connection other than the child that's growing inside of her, you need to mind your business.
So we have King in the building, and he said, people don't play with me like that. Not mine. And we have hell no. Okay, so this is my opinion because, of course, that's your opinion. But I'm saying if the person is sick, single, right? You are free to be with whoever you want to be with.
Agree.
I really don't see the issue here if y'all are not together.
Right.
Now, if you're together, then that's different,
That's
right?
a whole different topic.
But
That's a
you're
whole
not
different topic.
together. You put your seed in this woman, and y'all have a little one coming
Hmm.
on the
Yep.
way,
Yep.
but you don't want to be with her. So, what do you think she's going to do?
She's supposed to wait. She got to wait until
I'm
she
just
gives birth.
asking, what do y'all think that she's going to do? She going to wait 9 months to have the baby?
Women have
Wait.
needs too. Women
He
have
said,
needs.
he said, wait.
Oh, why you gotta wait? See, women have needs too, and pregnancy.
But they
You
don't
know,
wait.
you
They don't
you.
wait.
Mm-mm.
They'll have a woman pregnant, but they'll be in a whole nother relationship and having, you know, relations with that
So
person.
so tell me this. Just riddle me this. Why are there so many instances of men that have children that are born in the same month, are 2 months apart, or 3 months apart, or 4 months apart? That means you had sex with multiple women and you impregnated multiple women. You got siblings that are the same age or just a few months off. So why are the rules different for the man and not for the woman? Not that I'm saying women are out there
Something
just
is wrong with you. That's what it is.
uh,
Something is wrong with you. It's just an ego thing. It's just a, it's just like, I know you're not going to be touching. You're not going to, no. I think it's an ego thing
it has to
because
be an ego
you
thing.
can't possibly be that selfish to
Right.
leave your baby mother and act like she doesn't have a life.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you're being selfish to me if you think that she's not gonna go out here and probably meet someone else and
Hmm.
that can meet her needs because women have needs as well. What did he say? He said Maya waited 7 years. You can wait 9 months. For
Listen,
not
listen,
9 months for what?
listen, listen,
Wait
listen,
9 months for what? Are we
listen.
getting back together?
Listen. There are so many women. There are so many women walking this earth right now that met a man while they were pregnant. Okay. That man accepted the fact that she was pregnant with somebody else's child. Okay. And whether or not they wind up together is up to them. But there are plenty of situations where men have taken on the responsibility and have stepped up and have been there for a pregnant woman, and they've wound up together and have made themselves a little family.
I wish
And
I had the ding 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 ding.
I know,
He
I
said,
know.
King said, I'll wait too then. I would like to see that
So
because
if she gotta wait, then the man gotta wait till that baby is born before he can go out and he can lay down with anybody else. How about that?
seems fair to me.
How about that?
I'll wait too then. Okay.
All right. All right. I'll wait and see for that update.
I think it's nothing wrong with it. you know, that's fine. You
Mm-hmm.
can move on with your life. If you're not with somebody, if they don't want to be with you, pregnant or not, you have the right to move on with your life.
Yep. Absolutely.
He said, I'm with all that. Okay. All right, let's go to our next topic.
Okay.
So we have an upcoming U.S. election. Oh, I don't want
Yes.
to talk about this, but
Just a little over a month
I be
away.
rolling. Listen, allegedly, I be rolling my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel right now with the two people in front of you running for the U.S. presidency?
So there I want to say that there's a little bit of conflict. I feel like if Trump was to be reelected, I feel like it's going to be a complete disaster. I do
Mhm.
not think that he's going to implement any of the changes that he stated that he was going to implement. I do think we're still going to find that the tax breaks go to the higher income people and not your middle American people.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I still think he's going to be into his name calling and slamming people and not ever taking accountability for the decisions, that he's made. Now, Kamala, on the other hand, while I've seen her advertisements, I watched her debate, I've seen kind of what she's talking about, and I get the message that she's trying to put across, but she's got this past of her history as a prosecutor that has some people feeling some type of way. And I can understand why they would feel that way and why they would be upset because of her hardened stance on criminals and sentencing and all of that. And that's a huge issue. That's a huge issue with people getting sentenced to prison, getting sentenced to jail, getting over sentenced, getting way more time than they deserve and all of that. And that history has kind of followed her negatively, and people keep bringing that up and talking about that. Now, I do think that Kamala has a motivation, and I do think that her desire is definitely there to bring forth these changes and implement things like giving first-time home buyers $25,000 to buy their first home. So
Okay, but Brenna, okay, we know that they say they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Usually, most of the time they get in there, they're not even able to do half of that.
yep. Same with
Biden was
healthcare,
talking about how he was going to take student loan
student
debt
loans.
away
Yep.
and people didn't have to worry about it and stuff like that. But
Yep.
at the end of the day, was it done?
I got a few people that said they got the email saying that their student loan balance was zero, but I think that process kind of
It was
halted.
for specific things,
Yep.
for a specific group of people.
Yep. Not
Um,
across the board.
the people that I've been speaking to, it seems unreal to them. Like this whole election process, it seems unreal. It seems fake. It seems like there is not any candidates to vote for.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of them are saying this all they got.
Right. Right.
Like
Like we don't have anybody else. Like
anybody
no,
else want to
no,
be president?
nobody else wants to step in, at the 11th hour and step in. I mean, I honestly, I think either way, it really is going to be a crapshoot. It really is going to come down to actions, standing behind your words, really putting things in place that you say you're going to put in place. But we honestly don't know if that's going to happen until they actually get into office. And when they get into office, are they going to be so overwhelmed by all the other things that didn't get accomplished during, Biden's time and during Trump's time and the things that he left to be done, and even when Obama left office there was things he still had on the table that he wanted to put out, and they didn't necessarily get finished, but Biden said he was going to pick it back up. So honestly, if we had more of a selection, if we had more of a say so in who we were able to determine eligible and qualified to run for president of the United States, I think we'd be in a much better position. I think a lot of people this election are saying, there's nobody that I'm going to vote for.
A lot
There's
of people
nobody
are saying that, but then
that I'm
I
going to
you
vote
do
for.
have a lot of people that are saying, oh, just vote for the lesser of two evils. And then you have people saying, well, Trump, he did this, he gave us money, he opened the doors for, a lot of money, I guess, that people got. Um,
The pandemic assistance you're talking about?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then, they're like, Kamala, she just be telling stories and you know, I'm gonna say telling stories, okay?
Telling stories, telling stories. I mean, if you tell a story enough, I mean, you start to believe it. You become a part of your own delusion. Not that I'm saying Kamala's delusional, but I mean that goes with any candidate. Trump tells his stories enough, and he actually believes it. But we, as the people, as the
And
the
then you have some
citizens.
people that says there won't be an election, that there won't be a president. How do you feel about that?
That's going to be very interesting. I mean, I'm really curious to see what the state of our country is going to fall in if we don't have a, quote unquote leader. Who's going to run the House? The Senate and Congress? Are they going to be the ones that are making the decision,
I
or is it?
always thought that the president is just a face. To me, it's like it's greater power behind the president that's actually calling the shots.
Yes, I would
To
agree. I would
me,
agree
the
with that.
president is just a face, yeah, this is your president, but we tell them what to do.
Yeah, because they have consultants, they have speakers, they have people that write their speeches for them when they go to the White House room and they do a press conference. They have different areas of national security and government and things like that that come into play and feed them the information, and then a person tells them what it is that they're supposed to say. Now, if we were going to be in an environment where we defaulted to our local government, then when we would have to fall to our mayors and our governors and hope that we're under good leadership with our mayors and our governors. But I personally, I'm not too fond of the governor that we have for Georgia, so that's my 2 cents. I don't think
There you go.
he's done anything for anybody. I mean, he's the one that shut the pandemic assistance off for Georgians. He's the one that shut it down for gig employees and gig workers and Uber drivers and Lyft drivers and Instacart and DoorDash and all of that. He shut that down for a lot of people. And a lot of people were having to resort to do that because their companies were shutting down or their companies were actually closing or they couldn't go into the office, but they still had to feed their families. So nobody was going out. So they were ordering food, they were ordering groceries, they were doing all these things. And that assistance was helping these people support their families, and he shut it down. So I mean, I do have issue with that. I have issue with the situation with the reproductive rights. I just read that a judge had overturned the decision to deem abortions illegal. That decision got overturned, so it is now again illegal for you to try to obtain an abortion if your fetus has a heartbeat, which is around 6 weeks, which is around the time you actually confirm and find out that you're pregnant. So I think that's a real shame for women and women's health care and women having to risk their safety and their health because of a law that should never be in place in the first place. It's I think it's a woman's right to make that decision. I don't think that should be, the government shouldn't be, in your business like that. And I strongly disagree with that. And I was very, 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 very frustrated when I read. I was excited when I saw that a judge got it overturned, but then I turned around and I got disappointed when she got overruled, and the law was put back into effect.
All right. So that's that with the elections and the policies and the rest of the stuff they have going on.
Oh my,
I'm sure we're gonna hear a lot more.
yeah,
November's almost here.
yeah.
Um, well, let's go to the Diddy parties.
Yes, let's.
For the third time, um, Diddy have tried to post bail,
Yep.
and again, it was denied.
Denied.
Um, there's a lot of rumors that are going on online. Some of them they seem like they can be credible,
Mm-hmm.
but we're gonna say allegedly.
Allegedly. Air
Allegedly.
quotes. Yes,
King said November is gonna be a mess. Yes, it is. I
it
think
is.
it. Might as well get your water ready.
Right.
Your canned foods,
Right.
everything that you flashlights.
Get your basement ready. Hunker down.
Um, the rumors are that he was filming everybody while doing things at his parties and used those tapes to bribe people and shit, type
Yep.
shit, type shit,
Yep.
type shit.
Yep.
Like they say.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's disturbing.
It's
Um,
very disturbing.
someone mentioned about the people raiding his house to make sure stuff got deleted.
Ah.
That is another theory that is going on out there
Mm.
that people are saying. But I don't know. Of course, we don't know. We're just, mentioning it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you saw the interview that Jaguar Wright actually did on Piers Morgan show.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't watch it?
I saw it.
You saw it? Okay.
Yeah.
So she was speaking about the powers at be in the music industry.
Yes.
Um, and she mentioned J and B,
Yep.
if you know who those are.
Yep.
I'm sure y'all do.
Yep.
I'm not gonna say their name here because we ain't got time. Okay,
Right.
allegedly.
And there's
But
others.
his show is supposed to be uncensored.
Yes.
So she came on the show, and he got a letter from J and B attorney
Mm-hmm.
saying cease and desist.
Right.
Take the interview down.
Right.
And my thing is, you do uncensored content, right?
Yes.
Why would you take it down?
Guilty. I mean, normally, what we find with J and B is that they do very little interaction with the press. They very rarely give interviews. They very rarely discuss, their private life. We just know what's going on with B, with her Instagram posts and her different projects and things that she's got going on. But I don't even remember the last time that lady did an interview. It's got to be years and years by now. And even Jay, the last interview he did was several years ago. So to me, if you've done nothing wrong and you know that you've done nothing wrong, then what is the reason you're causing more of a commotion and you're drawing more attention to yourself by requesting someone cease and desist posting their content? So let's say we went on a show, right? Let's say we went on a show, we had a conversation, we had open dialogue, we talked about whatever we talked about. There were no issues. Things were fine. And then the interview airs, and let's say we get slammed with a ton of DMs and questions and all of that. What's the recourse? Do we turn around and request a cease and desist and demand that the interview be
Mhm.
taken down? Or
Well,
do
in this case, Piers Morgan show is like a very big, big platform.
it is a huge platform. It's
So
it's a
this
huge
is like
platform.
this is like the news. you
It's
know.
a huge platform, and Jaguar White has been all over the internet, all over TikTok, all over everywhere, doing her little takes on everything and giving her insight and information that
Right.
she
And it's not
has.
like he said anything about them, right? He was like, he was even
Exactly.
saying, like, J and B's not here to defend
Exactly.
themselves. You know,
Ex-
basically, that's what he was saying.
yes.
But
He did
then,
not. He did nothing wrong. Pierce did nothing wrong. He can't speak for that woman. She has her own mind, she has her own mouth, she has her own thoughts, and she has her own experiences. Now, allegedly, whether or not she was really present for most of those experiences or she heard via third party or whatever
I
of
think
some of
she
those
was.
experiences,
I
I think
think
she I
I
think
think
she
a
would
lot of
too.
stuff that she say is not just because she's actually been through some of it on her own, because she even came out and let us know that she was a sex worker,
Yes.
allegedly, still
Yes.
allegedly, because
Hmm.
you know.
Right.
But yes, she said it herself out of her own mouth. And then I do also believe that other people um have given her receipts of stuff that they knew.
Right.
And even the attorney came out in the same interview. I mean, Vlad TV came out in the same, is it Vlad, right?
Yeah,
TV?
Vlad. Yep.
He came out and he was like, "Oh, I believe she's a conspiracy theorist." I'm so tired of people saying that, because
Conspiracy theorists. They've been
the
saying that
more
for
y'all
years.
say conspiracy theory, okay, maybe it's a conspiracy theory, but guess what? It's not a lie.
Right.
You know,
Right.
because every conspiracy theory, well, most of them, especially when Mr. Jones was on the air, if you know who
Yes.
Mr. Jones is,
Mm-hmm.
they called him a conspiracy theorist. And
Right.
it's like all of the stuff that they've been talking about and saying, it has came out to the light, and it's still like people can't believe it.
Right.
Like, what else proof do you need?
I mean, I don't. I honestly, I don't know. I mean,
Why did they come out now and say something?
there's
Who are they gonna go to if the
right.
police is not even on their side? It's like,
Exactly.
it's a lot of stuff, and then they want to come out and they want to act like, oh my gosh, no, this been going on for a very long time. The Illuminati, people been talking about this shit for a long time.
Yeah.
Why y'all seem so surprised?
It really just baffles me the way that everyone is reacting. I read a story. I want to say it was yesterday. I read a story and two stories actually that I found were interesting. One of them had to do with the Diddy parties. And it was a magazine writer. She writes for a very famous magazine in New York, and she talked about Diddy's infamous parties. She named names, J and B, the list goes on. One of Diddy's exes, her first initial starts with a J, you can figure the rest out. But she talked about seeing all these people at the party, drinks flowing, and all of that. And she talked about how the police came in because I guess the party was at or over capacity. And Diddy got up and stood on a mic and he was like, "Officers, grab a drink. Don't stop the party now. Look at all the honeys in there. Grab you a drink and get you a honey." And the writer was talking about this and saying how some police officers decided to stay and stick around and said they'd keep an eye on things, but they were spotted drinking. Other police officers were like, "Now we're out of here. You need to shut this down." So eventually the party got shut down, but this woman was talking about her experience in being in one of the parties and all the faces that she saw and all the famous people. And it's not just people in the music industry, it's politicians, it's business people, it's entrepreneurs. If it's someone that you can think of that's famous, that has money and has a name for themselves, they were probably at one of those parties. They were
I'm
probably at one of
going to
those
say
bars.
that everything that I have heard, everything that I have read, everything, every receipt everything that I've heard from people and their stories, I feel like this is the most evil of the evil. And I feel like, do they work for the devil?
Sounds like it.
Because
Seems like
it
it.
sounds like it. You're talking about allegedly, we have to say that.
Yeah.
But rumors about Satanists, rituals, stuff like that, because I always wondered why these artists, right? Some
Mm-hmm.
of these artists, and I'm just going to be truthful. I always wondered why so many people go to their concerts, why so many people cry and worship these people.
Yeah. I mean, it's a phenomenon. I mean, it really is something to watch people crying and falling out over these artists and just losing their absolute minds and worshiping them. And it's like, what is the
That is
reason?
very weird.
What is the reason? Like, what are you getting out of it? I mean, I went to a concert 2 months ago. I had a great time. I enjoyed myself, but I wasn't crying. I wasn't falling all over myself. I wasn't clamoring to try to, get on stage so that I could touch them. I mean, I just went to have a good time, and it was a good vibe. But there were people that were in there that were literally losing their shit. And I didn't get it. I was like, what's wrong with them?
I mean, yes, that's scary. It
Like
made me
what's
feel like you're doing some type of witchcraft.
what's wrong?
Um, anyways, let's move on to young Dolph's case. And I did want to talk about that because the murder trial is going on. That was going on. So they said that allegedly Big Juke had a hit out on him for 100K.
Yeah.
And only $800 of that they received. Um So it looks like it was supposed to be like 40K a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Big Juke was actually Yo Gotti brother,
Yep.
if y'all didn't know, allegedly. And he was actually killed, I mean, unalive at a funeral.
Yes.
So he went into his demise.
Right.
Cornelius said in court they didn't feel nothing. They just wanted the money. That is very, very evil. I
That's
just don't
horrible.
understand.
That's horrible. I mean, the thought process and the mentality to take someone's life, to actually unalive someone and remove them from this earth because you have beef, because you don't want them to testify, because they might say something about you or say something the wrong thing about you. To me, I don't understand, the sense and all that. What do you gain at the end of the day?
I
And
think a
and
lot of people knew that allegedly Yo Gotti had something to do with it.
yeah,
Because of the whole, you know, music stuff they had going on and
right,
also street stuff.
right,
But I even went on social media when this whole trial was going on, and it was like a lot of people was going on there on Angela Simmons. She's supposed to be dating Yo Gotti.
right.
And they had like comments and everything like she just need to leave him alone and watch her back and stuff like that because of everything that's going on. If y'all don't know, a lot of things have been going on,
Definitely.
um, because of this, and it has been a back and forth situation.
Definitely.
Um, I am sorry for Young Doll's family and friends. They have to relive all of this, especially with that trial and just hearing like, cold words like that. Like
Yes.
we weren't, we didn't care about
We
nothing but
didn't
just the
care.
money.
Right.
Um, I always believe the internet solved this murder a long time ago, and that's
Hmm.
because, like, everything that was done when the young Dolph was unalive, it was like people were showing all type of videos on social media, like
Yes.
they already knew who did it. So I
Right.
was like, the internet been solved this mystery.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it was so easy.
Hmm. It's like,
Like
what's
this
taking law
was
enforcement
this
so
was
long?
a what's the word? Yeah, like they didn't even try to hide it.
Right.
And if they did, they didn't do a good job.
Not a good job at all.
Like they terribly.
Yeah.
People already knew. It was already out there. Like the internet solved it. Okay. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just heartless, and they have to go through all of this, listening to all of these heartless words. Like I just don't understand when people say, "Oh, I didn't feel anything," taking someone's life. Like, what?
Yeah.
I start to question, are you human?
Right. Yeah.
But, anyways, we came to the end of this podcast. You have any final thoughts?
Listen, we are in some really crazy, crazy, crazy times. I know that there's a lot that's going on. We're all going through things. Now is even more of an important time to really, tighten the reins within your family. Make sure that your family bonds are strong. People are out here getting sick during a scary time. People don't know what's going to happen with these storms that are coming. People have families that were affected by the storms that are coming. The election, I actually was thinking about the election and thinking about that movie, The Purge, where people get 24 hours to unalive anyone that they want without any repercussion. Honestly, I would not be surprised if people decided to.
Not the purge.
Yeah, if people started to protest in that kind of manner and start taking people out. So I mean, honestly, I really think people you need to stay on your guard. You need to make sure that you're well stocked and you're well prepared in the event of an emergency or the event that we're told to, shelter in place just because of rioting and fighting and gunfire and things like that. It's already happening, but I think it's gonna increase because the tensions are just they're continuing to mount, they're continuing to grow stronger. So I really just want everyone to stay safe and stay diligent and do the best that you can to try to hang in there. We'll hang in there right with you. If there's something in particular that you want to
Oh, guys, I think we lost Vernon.
sorry,
Okay, there you go.
I'm back, then we'll certainly we'll certainly address that. But that's really all that I want to say is, I mean, stay diligent, stay safe, try to stay sane. We'll keep you in the loop as always, and be good, everybody. Have a great night and have an enjoyable weekend. Have some fun.
I know. Have some fun. It's Friday. Get your drink on. Not too much.
Yeah.
But have some little
A
drinks.
little drink, a little
Tomorrow's
sip.
tomorrow's Saturday,
I
so
got
y'all
my
should be
little
good.
I got my little sip.
And I'm gonna say that, you know, I wanted to have these topics today, and incorporate topics together, just because is a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But I will be getting back to my regular topics.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And we will see y'all next week.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
Love y'all. Bye bye.
Bye.